And now we're about to do our class. These are always fun because I always think about the day like I had with my grandma and grandpa, how they taught me how to make pupusas, and that's a day that like the three of us have. That's why I love making pupusas because it's so much fun. Like always, my grandpa in the background. Eder, more cheese, more green, more red because like you add tomatoes, onions, and bell peppers. So like he was always telling me, look, you're looking at the color. So like even when we're grinding by hand. That was always cool. Doing these classes is always real fun for me. I always tell everybody like I got the opportunity. I was lucky that my grandma and grandpa got to show me what I do. But I know like the situation with a lot of other families, sometimes they don't get so lucky, so they don't get that opportunity to like learn how to make pupusas. So like we do this so people can have the opportunity to like, learn their culture, learn like what their grandparents or their parents before them did. I think one of my favorite memories is like when somebody, learned how to make pupusas from us, and they were like, man, like my mom would be proud of me, because, like she didn't get that opportunity, but like with us, she got that opportunity, but like to make them, like it made her happy to do it because that's a memory of her mom. So like I was happy to like learn to make this because I always wanted to eat my favorite food. But the thing about pupusas, for us, it's always like a special occasion food. So like that means your tia's coming, it's your birthday, it's always a special occasion. But for me, I couldn't wait, so I had to like learn how to do it. So in El Salvador, this is the main most popular food. So everybody in front of you, you guys all have cheese. I actually put the cheese in warm water for you guys to make it a little bit softer. So when you guys start working with the cheese, you'll kind of like work it in just to like get the oils mixed up with the cheese. Okay. And when after we fry it, we actually like put it in a food processor, and then we add onion, and bell pepper. Those are the three common things that they add in beans. So these are the small red beans. They're called frijol de seda. It's very common in El Salvador. So like I said, you can use pinto, you can use whatever you guys want. It's just whatever you do, just make sure you flavor this because you want the flavor to be there. Okay. You guys have corn masa in front of you guys. So this is instant masa. This is maseca. So if you guys ever go to the grocery store, you'll see it. It's a white bag with the green lettering. It says maseca on it. And then the other flavor that's really popular in El Salvador is rice flour. Now we don't do rice flour because it's a different type of way to do the masa. Like your water actually has to be boiling hot because if you don't do the rice flour correct, it's real chewy. And if you do it right, it actually breaks into pieces. So loroco is a flour bud, and it's very one of the most popular flavors in El Salvador. So what it looks like is it grows on a vine. Oh man, this one's stuck on here. There it is. So it looks like it's on a vine and it's just like a little bud. So if anybody wants to try, we will have this available for you guys. And then with the other thing you guys also have is you guys have water. Now in El Salvador, some people have like a cup of oil and they'll dunk their hands in like oil to help like with like the stickiness. We don't do that because remember everything that you see in front of you has natural oil in it. So even when we're cooking, you guys will get to see like what I mean because you don't really need to add more oil. Stickiness, if my masa's too hard, water is gonna be your best friend. So the first thing we're gonna do together is we're all gonna make the masa together. After we make the masa, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna do a demonstration on two ways that I learned how to do pupusas. When I first started pupusas, I wasn't very good at by hand. So my grandma showed me another way that we use with wax paper. Now the reason why I like to add water gradually is because it's a lot easier. Because if you add too much water, it's sticky and like it just takes too much time to fix it. Perfect. Yes. But you want to get it where it's not sticky. The reason why for me I'm a little softer is because I got gloves on. But you want to get that where it's a little soft like that. Just wet my fingertips and I kind of wet my glove like that. So I want everybody to start off with when you guys start making boozles, you're gonna start off with a ball. And remember what I said, your hands are your sensors. Like biggest critiques of pupusas is they're too thick or not enough filling in your pupusas. So you always want to make sure you have enough and not a lot of masa. Masa is very like giving. It's very like easy to work with, and it expands over all your ingredients. So the first step I do is I start to make the bottom of my pupusa thin. So what I'm doing here is I'm squeezing. So all I'm doing here is I'm feeling with my thumbs. I can feel the pressure on both sides. And all I'm doing is making sure that I'm making my masa on the bottom thinner. Then if you do it correctly, you'll get a little hat. If you don't get the little hat, it's okay. We just want to make sure that the masa is getting thin because we don't want the masa to be too thick, okay? After I get my hat, I smash my little hat. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of making a little bowl out of my masa. So my strong hand's my right, and I usually use my off hand to like hold everything for me. Now everyone always asks me like, is there a measurement for like pupusas? I go, no, there isn't. Because I always tell everybody it's like a snowflake. It's always going to be different. You might get more cheese, more chicharron, more beans, but when I make them, I like to add a lot of cheese. I don't know if anybody likes the crunchy cheese. Raise your hand. That's my favorite part. So what I always do is I always grab cheese in my hand and I start to like put it all the way around the edges. Now, when I was learning, like I said, my biggest thing was my edges are too thick and I wasn't putting enough cheese. So like my thing was, my grandma always showed me to always spread it out and make sure that we have enough cheese and that it's all the way around the pupusa. Next step is the hardest part. I always feel like when it's to close the pupusa is the hardest. But we actually get a tortilla and we put it on top of that, and then the pupusa is made. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If it's soft, too soft, too sticky, it'll stick a lot to your hands. So like I said, that's why we're trying to find that medium for your masa, because this step, you'll really know like how difficult your masa is at. But remember, I said when we're closing, I always say like your hands are the most important part right here. Okay, pull the edges. I always push down my thumb. So every time I pull my edges, I'm pulling my thumb, and then you rotate your pupusa. And I'm always using my thumb to make sure that we're pushing down the filling, and then we start pulling the masa up. And if I notice filling come back in, I'm just feeling on my hand where my filling's at. So what I'm doing here is I'm noticing where the filling's at, and I'm closing and making sure that I'm closing the pupusa, but I'm feeling where the filling's at so I can get this extra masa on. That's where it is, and then I'm feeling with the other part of my hand. Okay, this is the extra masa. We want to take that out. Remember, biggest critique, too much masa, not enough filling. First started doing it was really hard. Now that I do it like all the time, I can't believe why I struggled. But like I said, your hands are your best friend right now. So all you're doing really is you rotate your pupusa. So you're rotating, but you're gonna start putting pressure with one hand. So like when I'm doing pupusas, one hand doesn't move. One hand's like my base, and the other one's that I'm using to rotate. But the hand I'm using to rotate, every time I'm rotating the pupusa, I'm using my palm as pressure. So once again, like I feel it's sticky, I'm just gonna coat my hands with a little bit of water. And as I'm rotating my pupusa, I'm just rotating my hand. And then I clap. So now you guys see this end here, like I put pressure on the bottom. Now all I'm doing again is this hand doesn't move, and I'm rotating. So every time I'm using this other hand to flip my pupusa and rotate. If I feel sticky, I add a little bit of water, but every time I'm moving my pupusa, it's with pressure. Using water so it gets a little softer for you guys. These are the beans, and here was the chicharron. So whatever combination you like, you get to doing this class. And at the same time, I like having the other people, like other cultures coming, because we get to teach people about like what we are, what we do, and then what our most popular food is in El Salvador. Because at the same time, this is a cooking class, so we gotta teach people about our culture and who we are at the same time.